Well, hello, thanks for watching this YouTube video. If you're new to this, I also have a blog that goes along with this called experimentingontheword.com, and you can go there to see previous blogs I've posted, but from now on I am making YouTube videos, but I also link to them on my blog. So I just thought I'd tell you a story. This is something that happened to me about a year ago. And this is a story about spiritual and temporal self-reliance. And even though we might talk about temporal and spiritual being two different things, they're really like interlocked, just like this. You can't compartmentalize your life and say that you can have one without the other. So this is what I came to understand through this experience. Well, I have to give some background, and I did write a blog about this many years ago when I was still working as a speech therapist in a school district. I was having a huge struggle clinically with trying to figure some clients out, and I had an epiphany, really a revelation about how to solve that problem, and gained a lot of confidence in that area. I wrote a book about it. So this particular problem is teaching clients to say the R sound, which some clients have a really difficult time with. So when I started my own business, I was feeling pretty confident about that, and everyone that came through my door who was having these R problems, I seemed to be able to help. So then I had 2 clients come, and my method that I developed, that I'd written this book on, it just didn't work. And it was so frustrating. I was having all these feelings of the imposter syndrome when you're paid to do something and you have a certificate that says you can do it, and it's your job to be able to know how to do this, and you don't know how to do it. And on top of that, I'd written a book that said I knew how to do this, and it wasn't working. And I remember one night I was just sitting on the couch. I had the computer on my lap because I was finishing my notes and thinking about these 2 clients who had made no progress that day. And I had what I could describe as a little mini fit or temper tantrum, because I actually pounded on the lid of my laptop and I kind of kicked my legs and I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. And then I kind of stopped and thought, well, wait a minute. Maybe I do know what to do. I thought, am I living the very best that I know how to live? Am I doing everything I can to make my life the best it absolutely can be? So I took a look at my habits and I saw ways that I could change. Now, for several years I had been doing certain things, and I was still doing them. I'm getting up early in the morning, exercising, studying my scriptures, journaling about things that I saw in the scriptures, and I was still doing those things, but there were other things that I wasn't doing, so that really the day was running me instead of me running the day. Other than those few things that I was doing. So I decided that I was going to live the best week ever, the best week that I possibly could. So I mapped out my ideal week, that I would do these things at this time. And honestly, they weren't what we typically call spiritual things, because I was mostly doing those things already, studying the scriptures and praying, journaling about my gospel understanding, fulfilling my callings. So me doing what you might classify as temporal things had a huge effect on my whole week. I had the best week ever. When you do what you mean to do that day, it just feels really good at the end of the day. But the really cool thing that happened is I was sitting in front of one of these clients. So it's a Thursday client, so I'd been doing this since Sunday, I think so. And I was watching him, and all of a sudden I understood this piece of information that I'd read in an article, and what I was seeing in front of me clicked in my mind, and I got the knowledge that I needed to know how to move forward with both of these clients. It was the same issue, the same problem, the thing I wasn't seeing. And so I was like, wow, this really works. And it's embarrassing to admit that after that experience, even with that knowledge of how living the very best you can move you forward, if there's not a really pressing issue in my life, I can tend to fall back in some ways. Not in all ways, because there's some things I always do, but I can give myself permission to not do things, even though I know by doing them it's going to be awesome. And I'm going to gain spiritually and temporally, because when your mind is freed up from these temporal issues, you have so much more room and space to be receptive to promptings of the Spirit, to look at others around you and see what they might need. So again, these two things really go together. So I am back on track though as of 2019, really trying to do the best I can every day. Realistically, I don't make my ideal week unrealistic, because that would just be self-defeating. But I know I can do more than I have been doing. So it's a little, I want to say one more thing. I got my little notes here, but when you have this idea that you ought to be doing something better, it's best not to wait. It's best to implement it immediately. And I got this idea, and to begin to start the things I would need to do, I would need to get up a little bit earlier than I had been getting, and it was the week of daylight savings that we were starting daylight savings. I'm going to talk about inconvenient. So I was going to get up earlier anyway, and it was going to be daylight savings. But I did it anyway. With what I know, you get an impression, you act on it. So you don't know what you might lose by waiting. So when something is really hard, the thing I like to think about is we can do hard things, but in a simple way. So it was not hard for me to understand, not complicated for me to understand what I needed to do. Hard to do it, as far as making myself do things, but not hard to understand how to arrive at it. So I really think hard problems can be solved by simple means. So by small and simple means, great things come to pass. So that's just my story about how spiritual and temporal self-reliance really fit together, and how we can do active things to solve really sticky problems in our lives. Thanks for stopping by.